Hello, people. A very good evening to all of you. So, guys, finally, we are here discussing our study plan for Term 1 board examinations after a lot of speculation whether the exam is going to happen or whether the exam is not going to happen. So, finally, guys, exam is happening and you've written a couple of papers. And yes, based on the discussion, with few students, in the past few days, I understood that, you had some certain difficulties in your English papers and your mathematics paper. So, right. So, yeah, all I would say is that, guys, that period is gone. There are certain things which are not under our control. So, I think a lot of students are speculating, this for this kind of questions, the additional marks will be given or not given. A lot of ifs and buts you're discussing about it. What I would suggest is that there's no point, thinking about the things which are not under your control. So, certain things is gone and it's gone, right? So, I would suggest that whatever time you're spending thinking about what will happen for the exam that you've already written, instead of that focusing on what can happen or what best you can do in the upcoming exam, so that you can offset the marks here and increase your average to the higher level. I think that should be the main focus, guys. So, guys, we are here today on 8th of December and it is 4:20 p.m. So a couple of you have reached home somewhere around 1:32. Some people have reached home just now. So I think that is the delay for which we are here discussing about this at 4:20 p.m. Right? So, guys, this study plan, what I'm going to discuss with you, is going to play a very crucial role, in terms of laying a strong foundation for the next 4 days, so that your upcoming board exam on Monday could be comparatively easy to execute. So, guys, on the screen, if you can look at. So today is Wednesday, guys. I would suggest you. This is a rough, draft which I've prepared based on my understanding and my experience. And the first chapter which I would, love all of you to take up is financial statement analysis, because this one particular topic, as you've done in detail, and in this particular topic, there's not too much of brainstorming that you need to do, because since you've written an exam today morning, and since most of you are tired by now, you need to have a little bit of rest, and then once you wake up and start revising or preparing it, I think if you do certain chapters which is not too much brainstorming, which is very easy and seamlessly it can go into your head, if you can take those kind of chapters, it will be able to you'll be able to utilize that time at the maximum possible level. So I would suggest you to take up the financial statement analysis chapter, which is your third volume, FTS Way 1. And ideally, I would suggest you to give a time duration of 3 hours, wherein you would spend, discussing about liabilities, going through the concepts of liabilities roughly around 1 hour, assets 1 hour, and P&L another 1 hour. Now, you may have a doubt here, sir, liabilities is slightly lengthy than asset. So can we give 1.5 hours to liabilities and comparatively reduce time in assets and P&L? Yes, you can very much do that, guys. The timing what I've given here is an approximate, duration that you need to spend. You can do half an hour plus or minus, or 1 hour plus or minus. That is very much permissible. But ensure that the broader perspective of the timing, the outer line of the timing is being set, so that you play within that timing. You can do plus at once, one instance, and you can do minus at another instance. So that is allowed, right? But don't try to change the entire structure very in a broader way, totally out of control, so that later it will become very difficult for you to cover up the portions which you've not touched upon, right? So once you complete the financial statement analysis concepts, you need to do the MCQs pertaining to that chapter. Now, the question that will come to your mind is, sir, what do you mean by concepts? When I talk about concepts, guys, you need to understand the entire chapter right from the beginning. You have to go through. For example, if I talk about financial statement analysis, you need to have the complete clarity of the balance sheet. So let's suppose you're studying the liabilities. So on the liability side, you need to recap what are the broad major heads, what are the subheads, under the subheads, what are the subcategories that will come into. So you need to go through everything in detail, right? So you'll be discussing the concepts in certain chapters. I have given you the concept points that you need to remember, which you have taken down in the notes. And at certain places, we have made certain important assumptions. For example, if the question is not specifying what is the method of capital that we are maintaining, the entity is maintaining, then we assume that we are going to follow fluctuating capital system. So like that, in so many places in different chapters, there's so many assumptions that we have made a note of, right? So that you will take into consideration, that you will read it, recap it. And in so many chapters, there are different formats of balance sheet, format of P&L, formats of notes to accounts. There's a format how you present your P&L appropriation account, everything. So you would have made a note of all this format. So you will go through all the formats. See, what I'm discussing now is when I'm talking about concept. So I've breaken all your chapters into two things. One is concept, another is MCQ. Concept, MCQ. So when I talk about concept, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So you'll be discussing the all concepts of the chapter, important assumptions, formats, formulas will be given in all the different chapters. And I specifically told you to make note of the mistakes, what you've made in your exams and test, or the sums what you've worked out personally at home. At that point of time, you would have made out some mistakes. So I told you to highlight those mistakes so that during this 4-day period, you would revise those mistakes so that you don't repeat it again in the exam. And I told you guys, you will not have time to go through all the illustrations. So you will mark only those illustrations which are very, very tricky to go through. So those illustrations alone you'll go through. Understand one thing, when I'm telling you that you have to go through concepts. So which means for all the different concepts, let's suppose if I take about fundamentals, if I talk about interest on capital. So for interest on capital, there are few sums, one or two sums that you need to go through to get a clarity of the concept that you have to go through, right? Apart from that, in addition to that, there are certain illustrations which would have marked as very, very important from examinations point of view. So that also you will go through, right? So in a chapter, if there are 50 illustrations, you would probably have to go through around 20 illustrations or 25 illustrations, which would cover your concepts. At the same time, it will cover your tricky questions. So what happens to the remaining 25 questions? Those questions you should be able to do it if the same kind of questions come in your exams also. And 25 illustrations, guys, those are the big illustrations. Since your pattern is MCQ based, so you don't have to go through all the questions, which are repetitive in nature again and again. Just one concept study, you're good enough, right? So this is something we'll cover in your concept part. And guys, when you do MCQ, so MCQ, guys, we are following TS Grewal book, so you'll be working out from the TS Grewal book. And sample papers, of course, you'd have taken the printouts of that, so you'll be going through that as well. And few people are following additional guide. It could be any guide. You're following one or two additional guides, whatever you're following. Some people are following additional one guide. Some people are following additional two guides. So whatever you're comfortable with, go through all those MCQs. And the duration is approximately laid down, guys. Ensure that you're trying to complete it within this time frame. Yeah, half an hour, 1 hour up and down is fine. If you feel that, sir, I can study more than 7 hours, I can do even 9 hours of study, that much energy I have, then probably you can increase the duration from 2 hours to 3 to 4 hours. Right? So here the duration I've approximately given. For example, the next day, I have told that you have to study for minimum 10 hours. So you may feel that, sir, I can study beyond 10 hours. I have that much capacity. So accordingly, you can do +1, +1, +1. So this is like bare minimum. The time table what I'm given to you guys, this is the bare minimum that you need to spend. If you can spend over and above this, well and good. No problem at all. Right? So once you do this, guys, today, the next thing what you will head into is ratios, because ratios, there's a lot of formulas which you are very much aware of how to deal with. Right? So you will go through all the what do you call it, formulas from the liquidity ratio and the long-term solvency ratio. These are the two ratios alone you deal with it, guys. Around 1 hour each. If you feel that 1 hour is not sufficient, you can increase it to 1.5 hours and 1.5 hours. Probably increase the overall duration time. Right? Don't try to burden yourself, completing everything, within 1 or 2 days. No, you have 4 good days, guys. You can spread over the, what do you call it, the chapters in such a way that you are very comfortable in completing one by one, because whatever you're studying now, guys, it is very important to retain everything in your mind very clearly, right? So this is the target for today, guys. Then now you may say that, sir, some people have just reached home, so you may say that, sir, already we are tired, now we are doing the session and later again we have to sit and study, so it will be very tiring. So you want a break of 1 hour, take a break, take a nap, if you want to go out, for a walk, go out and come, relax, guys. Whenever you sit for study, remember that your brain should be completely relaxed, calm, composed, in a way that whatever you're studying, guys, it should go into your head very easily. So wherever required, you have to take break, guys. Listen to your heart for that. And just because I'm asking you to take a good amount of breaks, that doesn't mean that your break period is too long. That you take a lot of breaks and you end up studying only 5 to 6 hours a day. Even that is not advisable. Breaks here and there, to just calm yourself and relax and be composed. Guys, then we'll head towards the next day, that is tomorrow, 9th of December, Thursday. The first thing what you will do is you will revise whatever you have studied the previous days, and the time that I've allocated for that is 2 hours. Yes, very, very important. We've been following this strategy even in our regular classes, and there are certain students who have given me the feedback that revision technique had very much helped them. So same technique we're repeating here, guys. So the first thing tomorrow morning that you will do is whatever you have revised it today, you will have to do a quick revision of the same, for a period of 2.5 hours maximum. That should do for you. And then what will you do? There are certain remaining concepts of ratios chapter, which is turnover ratio, activity ratio. So you will start looking up to that. So you'll read the concepts of those what do you call it, particular questions. You will do the whatever the important assumptions we have made it, here and there. That assumptions you'll remember it, recollect it. There are certain formats, formulas, a lot of formulas is there here. You remember the formulas, a lot of mistakes, right? So you need to collate all that and study during the session, right? Once you have completed the concept part of the ratios, you will try and work out the MCQs questions from, I told you, the TS Grewal book and the additional guide what you're following, including the sample papers, right? So for that, the time allocated is again 3 hours. 3 hours, I think, guys, it is very good enough for you to complete all the MCQ paper. But if you feel that, sir, I need slightly 1 more hour, you are very much free to add it. Then if you move on, guys, the next thing is you'll be starting the partnership series, wherein the first thing what we'll be discussing is the fundamental of partnership. So concept we'll be discussing, we'll understand, what is P&L appropriation account, what are the different kinds of capital account we maintain, what is interest on capital, what is the entries for that, what is the interest on drawing, how do we calculate interest on drawing, what is the entry for interest on drawing, what is manager's commission. So everything, guys, right from the beginning, you'll have to study everything. Guys, if you take care of the, full-fledged questions, right, conceptually, if you're reading the concept, guys, trust me, your MCQ will automatically be taken care of. Your MCQs will be automatically be taken care of. Now, some students have this habit of directly jumping into MCQ. For example, instead of revising the fundamentals concepts, they would start directly solving MCQs. That will not help you, guys, because before you solve MCQ, you need to know the concept. Only when you know the concept, however the question, however tricky the question is, you will be in position to answer them. So without concept, please, for God's sake, do not attempt any MCQs. Get a complete hang of it, get everything registered here, and then using the knowledge what you've registered here, start working the MCQ questions one by one, right? So you'll be working out fundamentals of partnership. Roughly around 3 hours have been allocated for concept learning and 2 hours for solving MCQs. If you feel that you have more energy left, you can add on the time, not a problem. So this is your Thursday, guys, 9th of December, which is very good enough. So this is basically your day 1, and this is your basically day 2. So 2 days of accounts, guys. This is what we are going to study. And the third day, guys, the revision what you've done the previous day, that is in day 2, the ratios, fundamentals of partnership, whatever you've revised, you will do a quick recap of that for a period of 2 to 2.5 hours, and then you will proceed with the next chapter. And the next chapter would be, guys, goodwill. So in goodwill, we have learned different concepts. How do we calculate goodwill using the simple average profit method, the weighted average profit method, super profit method, annuity method. So annuity method is not the field. We have capitalization of average profit, capitalization of super profit. So all that you'll be learning in a period of 2 hours, including how do we do adjustments for the profits. That is very, very important, because there'll be definitely certain questions where the adjustment needs to be done. So you need to be very clear, guys. There are a lot of questions where adjustment, I've taught you. So you need to go through all those questions once, to get the hang of it, right? So once you have done the concept learning, guys, you will be focusing on solving the MCQs, which is again allocated for 2 hours, right? So once you complete goodwill, guys, next is a change in profit sharing ratio. Again, you will learn the concept, which is roughly allocated for 2 hours, followed by MCQ roughly for 2 hours, right? So this is your day 3, guys. So you should be somewhere giving 10 to 12 hours of study period. So if you're sitting it down for 15 hours, guys, only then you'll be able to give 10 to 12 hours of dedicated period for study revision. And of course, guys, in between you need to take a good amount of breaks so that you can re-energize yourself. And it's not like continuous, from morning till evening continuously you sit. No, let's suppose you're starting your day in the morning 6 o'clock. So if you're learning from 6 to 8, take a half an hour break. Then you can start the next batch. Then do a 2 hour or 3 hour session depending on your energy. Take a break for half an hour, 1 hour, whatever is required, and then do it, guys. If you continuously stretch for hours together and sit it, nothing will go, guys. Initial few hours you'll be comfortably, you might feel that things are going into head, but after a point of time it'll become very boring. You'll feel tired and you'll not be able to effectively study, right? So giving sufficient amount of break is very important, because break will give the energy that is required to start things all over again. So this is day 3 for you guys, where you'll be doing goodwill CPSR alone, right? And obviously the revision of the previous day. So that is good enough. And we'll head towards now, guys, to day 4. In day 4, again, guys, whatever you have studied in day 3, that you will do a quick revision within 2.5 hours. And if you feel that you have done the revision earlier, let's suppose the day 3 revision you've completed in 1 hour, you have additional 1 hour left. So you can do revision of day 2 and day 1 also. So the maximum revision you do, guys, so maximum time you feed the data to your brain, so your brain will be able to recollect them, at the earliest during exam, and it will produce you at the earliest, right? So the key is more and more, you have to keep on feeding the brain, right? So again, revision. So after you complete the revision, guys, the next concept that you will study is admission related concepts, followed by MCQs, which is again 2 hours I've allocated for each of them. So once you complete your admission, guys, your partnership series is over. Then you will head towards the concept of company accounts, that is share capital, wherein you will put 4 to 4.5, 5 hours of time to go through the entire concept right from the beginning. You will go through all the concepts, the journal entries, the tricky calculations, everything what I've taught you. You will understand the concept for 4 hours, and you will put a full stop for the day. So that is day 4 for you guys. And then comes your day 5, that is Sunday. So you will do a quick recap of what you studied in day 4 for about 2 hours. Then you will work out MCQs. So based on the concept what you have studied in the previous day 4, in day 5 you will work out the concepts from different materials. There is whatever guide you're following and whatever NCERT material you're following, you can work out from that. So that is again on Sunday, guys. 4 hours I've allocated for MCQs, share capital alone, right? So with that, guys, with that effectively, that is by Sunday afternoon, effectively, you'll be done with your entire syllabus, right? Till this, guys, if you have any doubts, please let me know. Then I'll go forward. Till this, do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
Is it making sense? If you have any doubts of any discussion, or had you planned it in a very different way, let me know what are your plans, and if it is viable, not viable, I can probably give you a heads up. If you want to discuss that plan with me separately, I can do that also, not a problem. So here, anybody's got any problem? No? You can answer yes or no, guys.
No problems.
No
Okay.
problem, sir.
Excellent, excellent. Now, guys, on Sunday afternoon, once you've completed your entire syllabus, guys, now you will allocate 1 hour for all the chapters to quickly run through the concepts. And guys, when you are studying this concept, when you're studying this concept and when you're doing this MCQ, obviously there are certain tricky points which you might forget on that day. So you have to make a note of those points. So those important concepts, those important formulas, formats, or those MCQs, what you worked out, where you worked it out wrong. So those you can mark it out, and that you need to again recollect it from Sunday afternoon. For each chapter, again, I've allocated 1 hour, guys, approximately 1 hour. Right? So here you'll be recapping all the concepts, formulas, formats, mistakes what you've committed, the mistakes what you've committed at the illustration level, and the mistakes what you've committed at the MCQ level. Ensure that the time is only 1 hour. So don't plan, a lot of things to be studied here. Here only those critical points, which you need to feed your brain again, so that the brain can actively answer on the day of exam. Only that you need to feed. You don't feed everything here, because 1 hour in 1 hour you cannot do everything as 100%. So only the important aspect of it you need to recollect it, which you feel that I have to read this, or else if I don't read this, I might forget. If you come across only those concepts, that alone you'll recollect. There's certain concept, guys, even when you study 2 days ago, you'll be still able to recollect it today. So those things you don't have to worry about it. So like that for fundamentals for all the chapters, guys. For that matter, fundamentals of partnership, goodwill, CPSR, admission. So you'll be spending 4 hours revising. 1 hour you'll be taking for each chapters. Then comes your Monday, guys. The final day where you'll be taking up your exams. So again, guys, whatever you studied in day 5, you'll do a quick revision. For just 1 hour you'll spend on that, and you'll do a quick recap of that. And then you'll head towards the next 3 topics which is left, which is share capital, financial statement analysis, and ratios. So again, you'll be quickly discussing, running through all your formulas, formats, important points, important assumptions, and the mistakes what you've committed, right? So you need to keep it as simple as possible, guys. Don't try to complicate too much. Don't sit and try to work out too many things. You need to know that the certain things you can glance it, and there are certain things that you need to work out. Why you need to work out? Because you need to actively, keep your brain, on food, so that it can keep on, working hard, working smart. So you need to work out certain questions, and certain questions just glance it, guys. That will be good enough, right? So this is the 5-day planner, guys. In fact, this is a 6-day planner for all of you. What do you think about this, guys? Is it achievable? The hours that I've given against each chapter, do you think that is less or is it more? If you can give me a feedback on that, that'll be appreciable. Do you think the hours that has been laid down here is realistic? Because I've practically done this by myself when I was my 12th or whether I did my CA foundation, inter or final. So I always used to have this kind of planning with me, guys, and this planning always helped me, in accomplishing the revision on time. Right. So I always feel that having a plan is very important, guys. Only when you are planning that, okay, this many hours you have to dedicate for this chapter, only then you will get to know that, are you able to reach your destination on time or not. If you don't have anything on plate and if you just keep on going, running, then you will not know that what you'll be able to complete and what you'll not be able to complete. So everything will be in a pretty messy situation. And if things start getting messy in this 4 or 5 days of period of time, then you'll start panicking and everything will start overflowing from your brain. Right. So this is a realistic plan that I've created. I would appreciate if all of you could share your views one by one. Is it achievable, or do you think that we need more number of hours for each chapters or reduce it? What do you think?
Correct, sir.
Shrikant says it is correct. Okay. Others? You can say you're agreeing with me, not agreeing with me. Something you can say. No?
Sir, sir 7 hours படிக்கிறது?
See, today, let's suppose you're starting by 6 o'clock also. And if you feel that if you're starting at 6 o'clock, if you're not in position to do a 7-hour study, then ignore this, do a 5-hour and carry forward this next day. So next day, you'll have to put probably a little bit more effort. So 7 hours is for those people, those who have returned back home on time. Let's say 1:32, they reached home. They had taken a proper break and they've started already studying by 3 o'clock. So for them, it is possible. But all those people who are starting at 5:36, then you might probably have to reduce the duration here and probably carry forward this ratio concept for the next day. So tomorrow you probably have to sit extra 2 hours to complete the target. Prathik, have I answered your query?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Siddhi says, sir, I'd probably take less time since I've already revised few times. Yes. So guys, there are two kinds of students. One student who have done the proper study right from the beginning. So for them, you might not need so much of days, because for you 4 days actually would be too much, right? But this 4 days is actually for good for those people, those who have started their preparation off late, realizing that the exam is going to happen, so they've started off late. So for them, this planner is perfect. So all those who have studied well in advance, you have ample time, guys, to work out extra questions. So the more and more you revise and more you keep on studying, guys, everything will be firmly there in your head. It will be seamlessly easy for you. So I hope I've answered your query also, Siddhi.
Yes, sir.
Sir, in study plan, you gave Monday also to revise, but Monday is our exam. Monday, what time your exam starts? 10 o'clock, right?
11:30.
11:30, no? So you have morning, we have 4 hours of time, no?
Sir,
Monday, we don't study like on the day of exam, you guys don't study.
Sir, okay.
Well, I'm just asking.
School by 9 o'clock.
We'll have school by 9 o'clock, sir.
Okay. If you feel that on the day of exam you don't have much time, so try to reduce this and try to fit in somewhere in the previous days. That's all, no?
Okay.
See, this is a outer planner. It's a broader planner. Again, you can twist it based on your convenience. See, every student is different from one another. The speed at which you study, Shrikant, is not necessarily that speed at other people will study that fast. So
Yes,
again and again, I'm telling you, you can adjust. This is a broader plan. You can again, I'll be sharing this PDF with all of you. So based on this, you can replan it and try to adjust it. No, that'll be fine. Not a problem. Guys, am I clear with what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now, so Monday when you get your question paper, guys, are you given the reading time in the exam hall?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. 20 minutes.
20 minutes. So how will you go? How will you utilize this 20 minutes? So I told you in the regular class also, your MCQ questions from accountancy will be broadly classified into 2 categories. One, you will get direct questions, direct theory questions, right? Another will be practical questions. where you need to do certain calculations, right? So in your exam, guys, when you are given this 15 minutes of time or 20 minutes of time, you will try to sort, mind, like, what are the direct questions and what are the practical questions. I'm telling you, direct questions means they'll ask you a question where that, in a public limited company, what is the maximum shareholders that can be admitted? So let's say they are giving option 2, 7, 50, unlimited. What is your answer? For a public limited
company, sir.
Yeah, for a public limited company, what is the maximum shareholders that we can, appoint, or how many shareholders we can, take on?
Unlimited, sir.
Right? So these are the direct questions. So you study a theory and a direct question is coming. So that is direct questions, and practical is where you have to make the calculations. For example, if they ask you what will be the amount that is transferred to capital reserve, so you need to make certain calculations. If they ask you what is interest on drawings, you have to make the calculation. So that is what I meant by practical. Now, in your exam, guys, when you're given that 15-20 minutes of time, the first thing that you will do is you will attempt the direct questions. In the direct questions, there are certain questions you will very clearly know where 100% you will be sure of what is the answer. And there could be another part of question where it is you're partly sure. Like here, you're 100% sure what is the answer. And there could be questions where you're partly sure. So first, you will complete or take up those questions which are direct in nature, where you're 100% sure what is the answer going to be. If you have slightest of the confusion, I'll put this into this category. Okay. Likewise, even in the practical questions, there'll be certain questions where you're 100% sure that your answer is this only, and you will get your answers right as well. And there'll be certain questions where you'll work out, but you might be partly sure, or you might be partly unsure. So the second type of questions you try to work out, focus, will be the practical question where you're 100% sure what is what, right? And then after you finish that, you will come back to direct answers, where you're partly sure and partly unsure. And finally, those practical questions where you're partly sure and partly unsure. Now, the strategy behind this is, guys, the approach why we're following this is because when you're taking up those questions where you're 100% sure and where the questions are direct. So first thing is, when you get your answers right, you have an immense confidence. Okay, I've done it properly, this part, and I'm this much, surely I can get. So there's a positive energy that is flowing into your brain, where your brain becomes, energetic, enthusiastic, and it is, totally active. It is proactive, rather, I would say. First thing. Second thing, when you take up the direct questions which are 100% sure, let's suppose your total paper, like 45 questions you have to attend, guys, and 90 minutes has been allocated for your exam, and 45 questions is what you have to attend, which means roughly around you have how many minutes per question?
2 minutes, sir.
Can I say you have 2 minutes per question? Yes or no? Guys, come on. This is not exam question. This is a normal general question what I'm discussing with you. You are 37, 38 people out there. Nobody's answering. Come on. Guys, for each question, how many minutes you can take?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. No. Now, let's suppose you're dealing with the direct question where you are 100% sure of the answer. The question which I just asked about that public limited company. Do you think you'll take 2 minutes to solve that question?
Sir.
Sorry?
No, sir.
You will finish off in fraction of seconds. So let's suppose in that question, if you're able to complete in 30 seconds, let's suppose in 30 seconds, you're answering that, which means effectively you are left with 1.5 minutes. So imagine, guys, you're doing that questions and that too very fastly. You're saving time. Your answer is right. Both these things are happening. You're saving time, guys. 1.5 minutes you're saving in each of these kind of questions, and you're getting your answers right. Look at the confidence what you'll carry. So don't do the questions in the order. The question paper will be given in certain order. It is not necessary that you do in order. You pick and choose those questions first, which is direct in nature and where you're 100% sure about it. Right? So two things will happen. One, you will save time. Second is you will get your answers right. So that will give you a lot of confidence to do the remaining tough questions correctly. Second is, guys, I told you will come back to those practical questions and try to solve those where you're 100% sure. When you look at the question and read the question, guys, you will know that okay, this I can calculate. That is why that 15-20 minutes is going to play a crucial role. In that 15 to 20 minutes, guys, you need to identify the question. Segregating these questions in the 4 buckets is not going to be easy. So you need to do a practice, guys. You need to follow a practice. And I'm not saying that the segregation of the buckets, what you do will be 100% right. You may feel that a question you 100% know, but when you actually start doing it, you might get confused. If that sort of feel is coming, just leave that and go to the next question. Getting the point? So you will solve those practical questions where you are able to, do it 100% right. So here 2 minutes is available with you. And whatever time you're saving here, that grace time is going to help you here. If you're able to do it in 2 minutes, well and good. But if need be, if there is a requirement, to use it 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes, do it, not a problem. So but keep watching your time, right? Then you'll come back to those. So now you're done with all the questions which you're 100% sure of what this. So these two put together, guys, should be roughly around 32 questions. This 32 questions should be such a way that you're 100% sure of the answer, directly and practically. So remaining 8 questions is something which will follow under this category, right? So these 8 questions, guys, you're partly sure. Now, some people have the habit that if they don't know, they leave the thing blank. Guys, you can't do that. You're not allocated any negative marking. You're not getting any minus mark for the wrong answer. So your goal is to, fill the paper for full 45 questions. You cannot leave any questions blank. So when 32 by here, I mean 32 marks. Now, if I talk about number of questions, I would say that roughly around 40 questions, you should be in position to get it right. Roughly around 40 questions, you should get it right, guys. Almost 38 to 40 questions, you need to get it right, like 100% sure. Then you're left with remaining 5 to 7 odd questions where you're partly unsure. It could be a combination of direct question or a practical question. So do this third and do this fourth. So at the end of the session, guys, all the 45 questions, you should have marked it. Am I clear or not clear with what I'm saying? Guys, am I making sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, just imagine the student who is taking up the questions and working out in the order. And the first question is falling under this category, where it is a practical question, where you're partly sure and partly unsure. You're spending roughly around 3 to 4 minutes on the question. Still, you're not sure of the answer. Look at the confidence, what will happen. Your confidence will drastically drop. If your confidence is dropping, guys, what will happen is you'll start panicking. And once you start panicking, guys, your subconscious mind will, the shutter will close down, because your answers comes from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind. So if your subconscious mind is shut down, nothing will flow from your subconscious mind to conscious mind. I've told you a lot of time, it so happens that during the exam, because of stress, you might not recollect certain points. But the same question, when you come out of the exam hall and discuss with your friends, you would say that, oh shit, the answer for this question was this. Why? Because when you're out of your exam, guys, you're totally out of pressure. When you're out of pressure, your subconscious mind is, answering dum, 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 dum. So the same kind of strategy you need to have it when you're inside the hall. There's no point, unshuttering your subconscious mind after the exam is over. You need to keep calm, composed, have patience. You will get through. Believe it that you can score it. I'm telling you guys, easily, out of 40, you can score 38 to 40. Easily, it is scoreable. I'm telling you. Because we have learned all the concepts in so much detail. We worked out all the questions in detail. There is no room. There's no way that you should not get 40. Whatever marks you've scored in your school, whatever marks you've scored in test in academy, don't go with that. You may very well score more than that. Believe in that. You will score it. If you have a feeling that, no, I've not studied properly throughout the year, I've just started studying, no, I can't score, the way my friends are scoring. If you start being negative, guys, then things will turn out to be negative. So how you're training your mind, how you're, believing your mindset to be. If you want your mindset to be positive, you need to talk positive, boss. If you talk negative, things will be negative. So how you think, the way you think, your brain, your everything will, function in that direction. So take out all negativity, associate with those kind of people, guys, who can give you a lot of energy, enthusiasm, positivity, and motivation to do well. Please distance yourself from those kind of people, those who are trying to, put you down, those who are telling that, I've studied only 3 hours a day, macha, that's it, yaar. Looking at him, you will say, oh, he's only studied 3 hours. I've studied 5 hours. I'm better than him. Don't compare with them. Compare, if you want to compare with the students, those are, working good, working smart. Looking at them, you can, climb upstairs, right? So this is the strategy that you need to have, guys. And the most important thing, guys, you need to have a sleep properly. For this 4 or 5 days, guys, my humble request to all of you, please be away from your Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever it is. Only use it for emergency conversation purpose or for calling purpose. Because when you take your WhatsApp, Instagram, when you start watching the reels, you never know where 1 hour goes off. Right? So please be, for these 4 days, you have to stay away. That's only 4 days, guys. 4-5 days. That's it. Right? So please try to, be away from the social media as much as possible. Utilize them only for the purpose of need. And most importantly, please get your sleep properly, sleep on time, wake up on time. Because if you sleep well, your mind will be fresh enough to grasp everything. So please have adequate sleep. And the sleep. So one thing what people do is that during the exam, they get up 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and study. Don't do that. Because if you do that, the morning hours, that is when your exam is that time you will feel sleepy. You'll feel drowsy about it. So don't, whenever your brain is waking up in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, just, get up by that time and just get going. Don't try to too much, pressurize yourself. Try to keep your, brain as much calm as much as possible. Right? And most importantly, guys, try to eat healthy food. I think a lot of people, during this period, sit at home, they order pizzas, burgers, everything. It's fine. Taste wise is good. But if your stomachs, gets upset, then you can imagine you'll be running into, washroom every now and then. So that will be a total waste of time. Your health, everything will drop in. So please avoid the outside food. And at home also, whatever foods you're eating, eat those kinds of foods which will not make you feel drowsy. Don't eat too much of oily foods or too much of cheese where things, can backfire. Right? So there are certain points, guys, this which I want to discuss with all of you. And yeah, and one more important thing is that once you complete your exam, guys, do not discuss it with your friends. Because after your accounts paper, I believe there's one more exam that is coming up. So if you discuss the paper with your friends, you might have done it right. You came out of the exam hall, you discuss with 4 of your friends, and they have written the answer which is, opposite to what you've written. So all the 4 have written the same answer, and you've written the opposite answer, but you are right. Now, just because your 4 of the majority people have wrote that answer, you might feel that they are right, and you get stressed about it. Right? So don't do that. So when you keep discussing all this, it will only put you down. When the paper is over, when things are not under your control, there's no point in discussing. You will be tempted. I'm telling you, you will be 100% tempted to discuss. I had this temptation till my CA intermediate, and even when I gave my CA final first group, that time I had the temptation. But later, when I didn't get through that because of a lot of stress, and I could not manage my emotions, I could not handle things properly. So when I failed, that's when I learned it from there. And then whenever I gave exams after that, guys, once I give the paper, guys, I used to just walk out from the examination center right to my house. I never used to interact or talk with anybody. Nor I question anybody, nor anybody question me, nor they answer anybody. Right? This is the kind of mindset you have, guys. If you don't do it, your next exam will get spoiled. Right? So these are the certain things which I wanted to discuss, guys. If there is any questions from your side, you can let me know, or else I would not want to take too much of your time. Of course, the next 4 days I'm totally available with all of you to discuss. Whenever you have any doubts, you can just keep on giving me a call, and wherever we find time, I'll make the necessary arrangements for you to come down to academy. Because see, the main reason is I don't want you to travel, guys, because a lot of travel times you will you'll waste it. You'll be coming from different far off places, and you'll waste up the travel time. You'll eat up a lot of your study time. So I don't want you to do that. So all those people, those who are very nearby to academy, only if you want to travel, come to my academy and solve the doubt offline, you can do it, or else doing it online is at the most easiest for me. Right? So that is something which I'm okay to do with all of you guys. You can call me anytime, whenever you require. Yes, of course, in between I'll have few classes here and there. So that point of time, I might not be in position to pick up your call, but after that, whenever I get time, I'll be answering your queries one by one. Is there anything else that I can help you out with, guys? I'm working on the notes, short notes, which I'll probably start posting it by tomorrow onwards. I'll make rough notes, here and there. So I've started making it, and probably I'll convert it to PDF and I'll start sending it to all of you. Right? So is there anything else that I can help you out with?
Sir, can you please repeat from?
Brinda, your voice is breaking.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Now it is fine, Kana.
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, can you please say from where should we start?
Today's study Though
Sir,
this,
not this, sir. Not this, sir. The question paper.
you mean to say the exam day when you're going to start? This part you're asking me to explain.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. So basically,
Only-
I told you that two broad categories of questions. One is the direct theory questions, and then will be practical questions. So first you will try to work out, first you'll try to answer the direct questions, where you're 100% sure of what is. So that will be the first preference. Second will be solving the practical questions where you're 100% sure that by spending time on that, I'll get the answers right. So that will be a second priority. Third will be, you'll come back to those questions where you're partly, sure and partly unsure of the direct questions. So that is the third priority you'll be giving. And the fourth priority will be those practical questions where you're partly sure and partly unsure.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, I'll be
Thank you,
uploading
sir.
this video on the YouTube, Brinda. So you can, just fast forward the segment and learn. And if you want to watch it, you can watch it one more time. Not a problem.
Yes, sir.
Right? Is there anything else, guys, you want me to answer? Super. So I'll sum up the session here, guys, without taking too much of your time. So I'll put an end to the session, guys. So yes, I'll be seeing you all on the other side after the board examinations for your term 2 preparation. And I really wish all of you guys a very, good luck that, score 40 on 40. So any help whatsoever it is, guys, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I'll always be there for you. Right? So thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye. See you. Take care.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.